And Terri, I want to ask you, as a mother, it's been, 5 years since you've seen your children?
Yeah, it's been going on almost 6 years since this started in 2016.
So how did it affect you? I mean, because you've talked about your mission here, but I want to know about, the personal aspect as a parent. Like you said, what Mark was saying, you were homeschooling your children. You were a good, strong family, and you had 7 children snatched by the government. You go to your state representatives, you go to your senator, you go through every legal recourse possible, and you have been turned down every step of the way. I mean, at some point in time, how do you deal with this?
Yeah, it's very hard to think about what my children have been put through and what we've had to deal with trying to work through this. But I just have faith that whatever bad is happening in the midst of this, that our Father's going to work it out in the end for good. And I just have faith and trust that that's what's going to happen. But of course, as a parent, it's hard to have to think about what could be happening to your children and the hurt that they're suffering. But I trust that it's going to be worked out in the end. And we've met so many other families that this is happening to, and to see that the destructive effect that it has on the children, the trauma that it causes them. And I just have to be thankful that that my children are still alive, because some children do not make it out of this alive.
Right.
And that I have faith that we'll be able to heal from any damage that's been done. So one of the things that we do that we want to do with our organization, we have a 3-point mission statement, and one of our mission points is to restore the family. So we want to help the families that have been affected by this to reestablish relationships with their children, whether they have to wait until their child turns 18 to do that or not, and offer support to the families that don't get their children back because they don't live through the system to turn 18. But we want to be a support arm for those families, and we do have a contact page on our website at letourchildrengo.org, or people can reach us through email at letourchildrengo@protonmail.com. And we just want to connect with all the other families that this is happening to in our country, and it's happening in other countries also. And so that's one of our missions, is we want to be able to help other families that are going through this to know that they're not alone, because yes, it is very hard as a parent to have to be subject to this, and the people that it hasn't happened to, they can't really understand what you go through.
Right. Mark, you said something as well. You talked about foster care programs and churches getting involved. And, churches want to do good, and they say, hey, we can be out there, we can help. But I don't know if some of the churches, I go back and forth on this. Should churches be helping, or should churches actually take a stand against the evil that is leading to this? Do you have any comment about that?
Yeah, well, I do. And, a lot of times we will hear, well, we just need to do what the government tells us. And there's a quote out of Romans 13, to be subjected to the governing authorities. And a lot of people are led along with those words. But, sometimes some enemy forces can misuse the word. I mean, that's clearly known in the scriptures. And if people take a closer look at Romans 13, 1 through 8, they will see that we're only called to be subjected to governing authorities for good, not for evil. And so I don't believe that the Almighty would be very happy if we were complying with evil. We're supposed to take a stand against evil. And so when we see what's happening out here within the churches, though, there are very awake and enlightened people who do see the evil for what it is, and they're willing to take a stand. And, when they get the information and they hear what's going on, they are moved to action because they can see the nature of the wickedness that's unfolding. And so there are a lot of good things happening, but there is that opposing entity that comes along and speaks, those lying words and misuses things. But, the truth is going to set us free, Jeff. And, as I was talking about earlier in respect to the foster care placement and people having signs, seeing signs and the radio commercials and TV commercials, some people will respond to that thinking that they're doing good, for a child who may be in need, because the only thing that they really hear is the child had to be removed from their parents because ... And you can just fill in the blank for whatever it might be. But who are we to say who or what constitutes a good or a bad parent? right? Okay, because really we set up a system to where, like I said, child abuse and neglect is a criminal matter, so give us due process of law so we can go before the American people with a jury and let them decide if there's a crime. Otherwise, we should be left alone and be able to pursue our happiness. Now, the issue with the foster care placements is that when people do step up, they don't know that in most cases, there is no crime involved. And so really, the only way it really works for the good of the child and the good of the people who are providing a good-hearted response would be if there is a crime. Is there a crime conviction? That would be the first question people should ask.
Right.
The second question that should be asked is, are there any relatives that a child could be placed with if there is a crime or a criminal conviction?
Right.
And if there isn't any, then maybe there would be a place for foster care placement. That should be a very rare thing. Instead, what's happening is completely upside down.
Right.
To where as we've already spoken of what's really happening. And so we want to flip it back, the right side up, because that's where we have our freedom. Right now what's happening is our freedom is being stolen, our children are being stolen, and livelihoods are being destroyed, America is being weakened, and we have an opportunity to fix it. And so that's why we're out here, that's why other people are raising their voices. We know of many other groups throughout the country who are doing great things, and a spirit of unity and willingness to work together is beginning to unfold, and we're really excited about what's going to be coming in the months ahead, because the Health and Freedom Conference Tour will be continuing in the months ahead, and so we encourage people, if it comes into your area. I know next month in January, Clay and company are going to be going to Phoenix, Arizona.
Right.
And then beyond that, they go to Ohio and then Oregon. And I think he recently announced he'll be going back out to California. And so it's going to be an ongoing thing. So we invite people to not just become informed, but if you have an opportunity to come, it is affordable, and it's a great time. And so we're just really excited about what's going to be happening in the days ahead. We will overcome this evil. We will restore our republic. We will reclaim our children, and we will be able to pursue our happiness and make America great again. So Jeff, it was really an honor to speak with you today. Thank you very much for having us.
Just one final comment here. In addition to the Romans 13 passage, there is also what Jesus said when they try to trick him: give to Caesar that which is Caesar, and render to God that which is God's. Our children do not belong to the government.
That's correct.
We are entrusted by God to rear our children for Him. They are His children. We've been entrusted with them. For the government to snatch them away for these reasons that they call the best interest of the child, which they can't define, they don't know what it means. The best interest of the child is actually the lipstick on the pig of the whole system. This is very much of a spiritual attack, and this is an attack that often takes place against people of faith. I've seen this again and again. I'm not saying that there are not legitimate instances, as you mentioned, but so many times there are very good, upright, solid people, and the children are being taken away. This is like you're living in the old-style communist Russia or Bulgaria or East Germany. We need to indoctrinate your children, or under what it used to be perhaps in Saddam Hussein's Iraq. This is what's happening every day in our country. So I completely am with you all as far as standing. This is a religious issue. This is an issue of freedom, but it's also an issue of evil versus good.
That's right.
And in many instances, the CPS system or the foster care system that people say, oh, it's so good, we need to just put these volunteers in. We are helping to prop up an evil system that should tumble on its own weight, and we should be exposing it.
That's right. Can I make mention of just one more thing real quick? In addition to all the things that we've brought forth during this great interview, the most egregious thing for us is our country was founded with the concept of religious freedom.
Right.
In the First Amendment, it says, Congress shall make no law either establishing a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And what's happening to us in tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of parents and children is we are being denied our right to practice our religious faith. We are not able to fulfill the charge given to us in the sacred scriptures to raise our children in the discipline and knowledge of Him. And so they have made a law to do that. They are violating the First Amendment, and it has great damaging effects if we can't exercise our most basic liberties. And so, I never thought, having served my country in the Air Force, to uphold our rights, that I would have my rights so egregiously denied, to include those of our children, because our children are endowed with those same rights. They have liberty rights that they are being denied access to their loving mothers and fathers in the name of protection for the sake of stealing our money where there is no real protection. And so, America, we can do much better than this. We have an opportunity. We're out here in the midst of it, so we encourage you to get on board, do whatever you can in your local communities, and we look forward to seeing you somewhere in some way. We don't know when or where, but if you like to, if you see us, we'd love to talk to you, and speak it up, America, and let's encourage everyone to continue to do their part. And Jeff, thank you again for interviewing us today.
Well, Mark and Terri Stemmon, thank you so much for being willing to share your story. And there's many people, as you mentioned, that know how evil the system is. Together, we can't fight back. Yes. Thank you for being in the forefront.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks so much. God bless you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you.